Thanks for joining us at Amore Fiori Flowers and Gifts DIY Wreath Workshop. Today, this video is going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to make your own personal wreath. The first thing I wanted to do is go over with you the supplies that are coming in your kit. The first thing you'll receive is your wreath wire form. You'll also receive a bag of sheet moss, just fresh sheet moss like this. Several different bundles of holiday greens. You'll receive a paddle of wire, which is something that looks like this. And then you'll also receive additional add-ins such as pine cones and lotus pods. I am going to be giving you step-by-step instructions. However, I want you to be able to make this wreath personal to you, so feel free to get creative. So let's go ahead and start. The first thing I'm going to start with is the sheet moss. You're going to lay your wire wreath form so that the indentation is facing up, and you're going to take a piece of the sheet moss, something about this size, about the size of the palm of your hand. You're going to take that and you're going to wrap that around the edge of the wreath form. You want to make sure that you're covering the edges here and the inside and the exterior. Once you have added on your sheet moss, what you're going to do is go ahead and unravel some of the paddle wire, and you're just going to wrap this around first to secure it, kind of bind it in the back, like so. And then you're going to wrap your wire about 1 inch apart from each other to secure the sheet moss. Once you've done that, go ahead and get your next piece and again wrap around the edges and the back, taking your paddle wire and securing the moss along the way. Again, leaving about 1 inch space in between each roll of the paddle wire. Next, I'm going to take another bunch of sheet moss. You can kind of like pull it apart if it's too clumpy. So pull it apart, lay it on the wreath form, and then take your paddle wire and secure that on. This sheet moss acts as a good base to secure your greens, and it will also hold in the moisture so that your wreath stays fresh for longer. So go ahead and pause your video for right now and finish up the rest of your moss, going all the way around the wreath form and securing it with wire. And once you've done that, go ahead and start the video again. Okay, great. So everyone's wreath, if you have the foam, or I'm sorry, the moss completed, it should look something like this, and on the back side as well. And then you're just going to take your paddle wire and you're going to cut off that end and then just tuck it into the wreath form so that end gets covered. So again, as I said, this sheet moss is going to create a good base for the greens to hold on to, and is also going to hold in the moisture for your wreath. Step 2 is the greens. So now we're going to be adding in the bundles. So you want to gather up those bundles that were included in your kit. There's a couple different types of greens that are in there. So we have the cedar, which is kind of like this like looser leaf, brighter green. We also have the Douglas fir, which is pretty much typical for a holiday wreath. And then we also will have seeded eucalyptus, which is gonna give a nice color and texture variance in your wreath, and as well as magnolia leaves, which you can use the back side or the front side. So the way that you're gonna start is you're gonna lay your wreath form down, and you're gonna find 6 o'clock, which is right here, and you're gonna start with your first bundle. So you can do these bundles in any order that you like, but I like to just do a mix and match of them and go around the full wreath. So I'm going to take my first bundle And the cut ends that are wrapped with the wire, you want to face to the right and lay the greens on top of your wreath form. You're then going to take your paddle wire and you're going to secure that onto your wreath. So just go around that bundle one time and around the back and just do a twist with your paddle wire so we have a secure start. Okay, once you have that bound in the back, you can wrap your paddle wire around a couple more times to secure that one bundle. So it's going to look something like this, and it's really important to get this tight because you want your greens to stay secure when they're on your wreath, because if you're hanging it up, they need to stay in place. So the next thing that you're going to do is grab a different kind of green. I'm going to go with the cedar, and this is an important part, that you want to lay your next green bundle pretty much on top of the green that you just laid down. Like, don't go here and leave that much space. You really kind of want to overlay it, maybe like halfway almost on top of the other green that you had placed. We want this to be really full, and these are all freshly cut greens, so there's a lot of moisture in them right now. And as you, throughout the season, the moisture is going to leave these leaves, so they're going to shrink a little bit. So you want to kind of almost over green it first, so when the moisture does leave, it's still very full. So take your green, you're going to be working counterclockwise now, and you place it on top of your other one. Take your paddle wire and secure it a couple times on there. Okay, next up, I'm going to do another one of the Douglas fir. Lay it on top of the cedar. I'm going to bundle that, or bind that on. Next, I'm going to do a silver dollar eucalyptus. And as you see, all the ends are facing to the right. I always place the ends to the right, and I'm working in a counterclockwise direction. So this way, everything is going in the same direction like this. Bind this on. And at this point, you can kind of give it a little shake to see like how secure the greens are. Okay, I'm gonna add another Douglas fir. Bind it on. Now I'm gonna add in the magnolia. Magnolia has a very small stem, so you want to make sure that you really get this one down tight. Oops. If your paddle wire falls, just grab it. And again, you can see how I'm laying this pretty much almost like on top of it. You don't want to go here because it's not going to be full enough. Really go on top of the previous bundle. Okay, so I'm kind of a third of the way done. So I'm going to stop the video now, or you can stop the video now and go ahead and start to put your greens bundles on, and when you're finished with that, go ahead and start the video again. Thanks. Oh, and before you turn off the video, just one thing that I wanted to mention is you may want to lay out your greens to see what kind of pattern that you want to create. So which greens that you want to lay down. So do you want to go, you know, cedar, Douglas, and kind of lay them out to see how the spacing is going to be and what will work for you. And then once you have it laid out, then you can take everything off and then start doing the bundles. Also, once you get to the very end, you're going to be getting close to the end because you're going in the same direction, keeping all the ends to the right. Once you get to this point, you're gonna be kind of lifting up that first bundle right here and sticking that end piece under that first bundle like so, and that's how you'll finish with the wire. So go ahead and start to do that, and you can turn the video back on when you are completed with those bundles. Okay, I have most of my wreath done where the two ends have met. So this is what this looks like, and I did Douglas fir, cedar, silver dollar, Douglas fir, cedar, silver dollar, magnolia. So it's interspersed throughout. And I do have some pieces left over of cedar. So if this happens to you and you have extra pieces left over, you can always just cut your paddle wire when you're done, tuck that in, and you can take these extra pieces and really just tuck them in wherever you like so, and then add a piece of wire separately. So I'm going to do that with a few other bundles and finish off my wreath. Okay, I've added in the additional greens, and this is how my wreath turned out, and hopefully all of yours looks somewhat similar. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be adding in the embellishments. So there's pine cones included in each of your kits. You want to take your paddle wire and maybe 16 inches or so, unwrap, and you're going to take the paddle wire and you're going to wrap it into the pine cone and around the back and twist it. So now you have your wire within the pine cone, and then you have your two ends. So you're going to take this and lay your pine cone into the wreath, kind of nestle it in there, and then just take the wire ends and wrap that around the back of the wreath. So I'm going to place one there, and you can see it's nestled in there and then tied in the back. So go ahead and cut your wire, 3 pieces, 16 inches long, and wire each of your pine cones and then wire them on. Okay, so I hope everybody got their pine cones on. I distributed mine evenly, however you can put 2 together, 1 over here, again up to you. Got them wired onto the back. And now I'm gonna add in my bow. So everyone should have a bow, and it's a 4-loop bow. So you want to kind of fluff it to make sure that it's not smushed or anything like that, all these loops. And then on the back there are 2 wire tails. You're going to again just pick your placement of where you'd like to have your bow and take the wire and wrap it around the back. I like to hang my wreath asymmetrical for the bow rather than on top or on bottom. So when I hang mine on the door, I like to have the bow kind of here in this corner. But you know, you could do this, you could do that, just depending on how you like to have it. And then lastly, after you got your bow secured, you should also have some lotus pods, dried lotus pods, and these already come on picks, so this is just really easy. You can just take these and just kind of insert them into the wreath. It's going to go into the moss, and just shove those in. That's real easy, and they'll stay secure with those picks. And once those are in, you are complete. One thing that I'd like to say is that you want to keep your wreath set flat for the first 2 days after it's made. This way the greens will set in this position. If you hang it right away, the greens tend to droop down because there's so much moisture and it's really heavy at this point. So go ahead and leave it set for 2 days, and you can hang it inside or enjoy the smells, or you can hang it outside as well. If you'd like to keep it fresh, one thing that you can do is spray the back with water. That will keep the greens fresh, again, but don't be hanging it on the wall inside if you do that right away. I hope you enjoyed making your wreaths. We'd love to see pictures, so send them to Amore Fiori. And thank you so much, and happy